Good morning, this is William T. Gibbs with CoinWorld's Monday Morning Brief. Well, the end of 2016 is upon us, and it is time for us to recap our top 10 stories of the last year. Every December, the CoinWorld editorial staff gets together and selects what it feels are the 10 most interesting, most fascinating, most important stories of the year. Here's our list for 2016. Probably the biggest story was the one that made national headlines when, in April of 2016, the Treasury Department announced major changes coming for the $5, $10, and $20 Federal Reserve notes. The big change will be on the 20, where it will have a portrait of Harriet Tubman on the face, replacing that of Andrew Jackson, who will be moved to the back of the note. Now, this was the goal of a group called Women of 20s, which for several years had been petitioning the government to increase the diversity of the individuals and scenes shown on our paper money. That's going to happen. On the $5 bill, the back will be changed to show scenes from the Civil Rights Movement occurring at the Lincoln Memorial, and the $10 bill will recognize the women's suffrage movement, including a parade that ended at the Treasury building more than a century ago. All of the designs are expected to be at least revealed sometime in 2020 on the centennial of the women's right to vote. Another major story was unexpected. It was the discovery at the Philadelphia Mint of dies and hubs for a 1964 Morgan dollar. Now, we had known that the Mint had considered striking Morgan dollars, in the mid-1960s, but instead they chose to strike peace dollar designs. We never knew that they had gotten so far as to actually make dies and hubs. Researchers found not only the dies and hubs for the 1964 Morgan dollar, but they also found dies and hubs for the 1964 peace dollar. This was a remarkable find, and we hope that sometime soon the U.S. Mint will display these important artifacts for the public to view. Also big last year was the fourth auction from the collection of Brent Pogue. This is by far the most expensive collection ever auctioned, totaling well more than $85 million at this point. Now, two of the big coins that were offered at the fourth auction were the $1804, the finest known specimen, and the only 1822 gold half eagle available to private ownership. The other two specimens are in the Smithsonian collection. Interestingly, neither of those coins sold. Bids failed to reach their reserves, and yet the Pogue collection still continues to astound us with its breadth and the rarity of the coins it has. Another major story is one that has been going on for a decade now and continued in 2016. That's the saga of the 10 1933 double eagles that were found by the Langford family and that are now in the possession of the U.S. Mint. The family and the government have fought a long legal battle over the ownership of these coins, with the most recent rulings finding in favor of the government. The family has now asked the U.S. Supreme Court to pick up the case and consider its appeal. Expect this case to be continuing into 2017 for the 11th year. A related story was the discovery of a 1974 D aluminum cent. Now, the Denver Mint was never authorized to produce any trial strikes for the aluminum cent. All of those were supposed to have been struck at the Philadelphia Mint. However, someone at the Denver Mint struck a small number, and one of those was presented to a Denver Mint employee when he retired some years ago. That coin recently surfaced in the estate of that individual, and when his son took it into a dealer to sell, they discovered what it actually was, and they agreed to sell it at auction. When the Mint found out, the Mint said, no, that coin cannot be privately owned. And again, another legal battle arose to decide who could actually possess that coin. The two co-owners of the coin eventually decided to return it to the government after deciding that it was not appropriate for them to hold that. Another major find was made in a toy box of all places in Great Britain. This was an heirloom collection of toys and coins and other items that several generations of family members had played with, using some of the coins as pirate treasure. Well, the family decided to find out whether any of the coins had any value, and one really was a very rare, very expensive coin. When it sold at auction in 2016, it sold for 280,000 British pounds. That's well over $300,000 in U.S. funds. Now, we also had some other interesting things happening, in the United States. One of them was the very fast sellout of two 2016 American Liberty silver medals. Collectors had been anticipating these medals because they bore the same designs as a 2015 gold coin, in the American Liberty program. And because they are made of silver, were much more affordable. However, the mintages were very low, 12,500 pieces each for two medals struck at different mint facilities, and they sold out in minutes and very quickly rose in value on the secondary market. A number of collectors who were unsuccessful in buying any of the medals were very upset at the low mintages. Similarly, when the mint offered the first of 3 gold Centennial coins in 2016, some collectors went away with a bad taste in their mouth. The gold versions of the Winged Liberty Head dime, Standing Liberty $quarter, and Walking Liberty $half were tributes to the 1916 silver versions of those coins, considered the most beautiful coins in U.S. history. The dime sold out in minutes, again upsetting a number of collectors who had hoped that they could afford at least the dime. Now, the $quarter and $half coins remain available from the mint. You can buy those if you want, directly from the mint at issue prices. We also learned, in 2016, a story that will actually break in 2017, and that's the appearance of the first African American liberty ever depicted on a U.S. coin. It will appear on the 2017 American Liberty Gold coin that will also have a 225th anniversary theme. The mint celebrates that important milestone next year. Expect this coin to also be accompanied later in the year by 4 silver medals bearing the same African American Liberty portrait and Flying Eagle reverse design. The 4 different medals will be struck at 4 different mints with 4 different finishes, and they should also be very popular with collectors. We also had another ongoing theme reported this year by World Mints, and that is boutique bullion. The World Mints had discovered that there is a strong market for specialized bullion coins, gold, silver, platinum, with special designs, special privy marks, struck in small numbers, and sold through partnerships with various private companies and other means. These have been very popular with collectors, and I think we can expect to see more boutique bullion surface in 2017. Now, we are already hard at work on getting ready for next year. CoinWorld will continue to report on the events as they unfold. And 12 months from now, be sure to return when I will recap what we consider to be the top 10 stories for 2017. This is William T. Gibbs for CoinWorld. Thank you and happy holidays.